I chair the MBA program here. My name is Christopher Blanchard. When people talk about grad programs here in Upper Iowa, they go, on campus anyway, in Fayette, they go, we have those? Yes, we do. And then they go, and we actually have chairs on campus? Yeah, well, kind of. My office is actually in the professional building, and that's not part of campus. So I am across the street. So I guess I'm not really in Fayette, right? But I had to drive in today, so not quite as far as Trinity or others, but anyway. But prior to coming to Upper Iowa, I was the chief academic officer for the Minneapolis campus at Wilton University. Prior to that, I chaired the business and sports management program at Crown College, and then even before that, I worked in Fortune 500 management. So I've been around a couple places over the last 15 to, well, actually 20, I used to say 15 to 20, now it's more 20 to 25 years. I like to say I'm young, but so that's just who I am. And since I don't know any of you, please stop by my office. I'm an extrovert by nature, and I'm over in a building with 6 people, so I wear them out. So come talk to me. I'd love to chat with you. But the question that I really wanted to focus on today: do you need grad school? I heard yes. Why?
Can't be a professor.
Can't be. Well, it's kind of hard to be a professor without it. Why else do you need grad school? Well, there's lots of reasons. I mean, some of the most popular ones would be things like some fields actually require it. Physical therapy, medicine, law, those areas, it's required. Then there are certain fields that you may need to do extra work beyond your undergrad to get the certifications, to get licensures that you need, or maybe it's just ongoing professional development. How many, any education people in here? You're going to do one just because you have to keep up your license when you get that. Any accounting people? No accounting? You got business, right? Mm-hmm. Business people, you're going to have, depending on your field, extra. What other fields do we have? Sports communication. You want to keep up on that. What else? English. If you want to teach, definitely need that. Sports science. So then here's the reasons for those that it may not be required, but you do have increased earning potential, especially in those fields, right? Along with the increased earning potential, maybe you just want to stand out. But let me go back on this before I forget. The U.S. Census Bureau actually has these lovely little, and I know everybody wants to go to the U.S. Census Bureau website. I see you in your dorms at night, right? Just, I can't wait to get there. But this is just their information that they have about business majors. So if you start with an undergrad bachelor's degree in business, your work-life earning potential is $2.5 million. That's kind of scary when you just like, really want to make that much money? You add a grad degree, $3.2 million. The difference of it, yeah. Now, if you're in education, I did pull the education one since we have an MED program here. Bachelor's degree, they say $1.7 million. Actually, $1,798,000, all round up, 1.8. Okay, master's degree, 2.2. $500,000 more. Increased earning potentials, more money's good, right? And they have that for just about every field. Communications out there, I saw that, I did see English and other places as well, so you have that. On top of that, maybe you want to stand out for your resume, make yourself a little bit more marketable. That's always good to get that job. Maybe you just have an interest in a certain area. Right? Okay, we've been talking, you're thinking, right? Maybe in business. I'm right now contemplating doing another graduate degree. In my spare time, yeah, whenever that is, it's every 8th Friday, right? So it's I have it for 2 hours, I guess, in spare time. I'm also a minister, and I'm actually thinking about doing more of a doctorate study in theology. Imagine that business guy as a preacher. That's scary.
Well, and I guess I'd say, you might start getting experience. Your career might guide you in a direction. You don't really want to drop back into another undergrad degree, because that's really all about just learning how to learn.
Yeah.
So then you could go on and put that graduate degree in another area.
A whole new area. So you find a field that's interesting to you? Yeah, don't do a double, don't do another main undergrad, do it as master's. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes on why. So, maybe it's just because you want to. Anybody just have a goal to have a graduate degree, master's degree? It's always been a goal. Really? And if you're going to teach at a university, you need a doctorate. I graduated, my undergrad degree, I graduated thank you laude. You know, some of you graduate magna cum laude. I graduated thank you laude.
Yeah, no, we said
Yes. So I mean, that's kind of where I was. I was not thinking, oh, master's degree and everything else. I wasn't thinking doctorate. I was thinking, I'm done. Right? So, but some of you may have had that long-term, passion to get a grad degree. So maybe it's just because you want to. So let me tell you what the current trends are, because really, when you start looking at this, it doesn't matter all those things. Let's look at what the trends are. So if you were to look through here, and let me make sure I do this right here. I think there's a button. Whoops, no, that went that way. I thought I could aim it, but I guess I can't. So, but the population, this is 25 and older. So you'll notice the population of people that are older than 25 has gone up since 2000. And in 2012 census era, it's 203,000 people. And that's in millions, 203 million people. Bachelor's degree only. Now, if you have a master's degree, you generally have a bachelor's, so we're taking that out. So these are just people with bachelor's degrees. 14.4, 10%, 14.9%, up from 12.2 in just, 12 years? That's a pretty significant jump. So more people have bachelor's degrees. Now look at the master's degree. Going from 5.9% to 8%. That's a pretty significant jump too. More people have graduate degrees. Professional degrees. Anybody know what a professional degree is? Great. Great question. Hold on to that. We'll come back to it in a second. And then because then you also throw in the doctorate degrees. And there are some differences. Well, I don't want to jump ahead of myself, otherwise I'll use up all my slides. So I'll hold on to that. I just wanted to prep you for a question maybe. Let me show you the next thing. Let's just go age 18 and over. This is as of the 2012 census. The bachelor's degree number does include, so anybody that has a master's is also included in it. 18 and over as a total 18.7%. But in your age group, where everybody under 24? Most of you? No, it's in the other. No, not me. Okay, 18 to 24. 9.3% of that age group now has bachelor's degrees. Not too many have master's degrees because most of you are just finishing your bachelor's, right? If you go to 25 to 29%, or 25 to 29, 26% in that age group have bachelor's degrees. So when you go get that entry-level job, guess what who you're competing with? A lot more people with bachelor's degrees. Then you come into the 30 to 39 group, 45% of this age group has bachelor's degrees. And some of those may be changing careers, so you're going to be competing with them. Now you look at the master's degrees. Okay, now remember, as a total, only 8% of the total population has that. Okay, so 7.4 total population 18 and over. 6%, or 0.6% again, not much there. 5.7%. That's a large population that's going right from undergrad to graduate. But then you come into this age range, 20% of the people in their 30s have graduate degrees, master's degrees. Then you add in the professional degrees and doctoral degrees. So really, what does that mean? Okay, because it's all boring statistics, right? And you guys are English and everything else, right? So we try and take it out of the math and put it into English. So here's the deal. 38.4% of the population is between 18 and 39% of the US population. It's a large group. Okay? Of that, 39.4% of all bachelor's degrees are held by people in that age group. So almost 40% of everybody in the country who has a bachelor's degree is in this group. More scary is 30% of all master's degrees are in this age group out of the total population. And then 26.8% of professional, 24% of the doctorate degrees. Bottom line, in today's job market, a graduate degree is needed just to maintain your competitiveness. That's a big thing. So that's not the way it was when I went to school. When I went to school, it was get your degree, go on, and maybe one day, if you're, when you're getting, in your 40s, maybe closer to 50, get that MBA and move into that executive suite. But today, I was at a conference just a couple weeks ago, and every one of us, there's 15 faculty members from around the country, and we talked about the change in business education, and what we said is the MBAs are getting younger every year. And so more and more people are getting that to be competitive. You need a grad degree. So let's talk the types of grad degrees. So what's the difference? Well, a master's degree. Basically, a master's degree, you're going to demonstrate mastery. That's why we call it a master's degree. Playing on English, I guess, right? Okay, it's basically in your field of study or your profession. Some of the ones that we have here: MBA, MPA, MHEA, MED. Again, area or professional practice. So, MA, Master of Arts, maybe MS, Master of Science. There's lots of different ones. A professional degree focuses on, this is the question, where's the difference? Specific professions that require practical skills. Individuals with a JD, that's a Juris Doctorate, they become attorneys. You can call them doctor, because it is a doctorate, but most people just call them counselor. All right. You can look at a DC. Anybody know who the DCs are? I'm plug and play. Like, technology, you plug in and it plays. Same way, the more you plug in, the better my jokes get. Yeah, doctor of chiropractic. Yeah, doctor. What about an OD? Not, what's that? Oh, OD. Got it. Yeah. Anybody know who the OD is? It's actually my sister, doctor of optometry. Yep, the people who dilate your eyes. So that's a doctor of optometry. No, we don't have these. These are just samples. So, yeah. But anybody know what the first one is? An MD? Medical doctor. A medical doctor is actually a professional degree. It is not the same as a PhD. Because they are. I mean, all of these people, you call all of them doctors. Professional, practitioner-based degrees, and then you have academic degrees. PhDs, like me, we're the, I don't want to say boring, but academic people. We spend a lot of time learning how to study and looking at very specific areas. We know a lot about a little bit, at least I know a lot about a little bit. Another one could be a DBA, which is a Doctorate of Business Administration, or an EDB, which is a, what's that? EDB? Doctorate of Education. All those individuals are doctors. Those are some. So here's the big thing. Here's your difference. Practitioner versus research. In practitioner programs, you can have a coursework only program, no major projects. How many like that idea? You just do your courses and you're done. Some of you who are maybe nearing senior project or in your senior project now, you're going, I wish I had that. Or you could have something like a coursework with a major end project. So that's becoming much more popular. You could do, and then there's the research degree, the academics, where you're going to do coursework, but you're also going to end with writing some sort of thesis or dissertation and making a presentation to defend your work, to prove that you know your stuff. Isn't that exciting? You take all this time and then you have to defend it, actually prove it again? It's scary. So, what about applying for grad school? So those are your basic differences. Now let me talk to you about how you go about applying. It varies from program to program. There's no easy one size fits all. I'm going to tell you what most schools are going to require. They're most going to, and it also depends on if it's research or practitioner. But most schools are going to require official transcripts. kind of makes sense, right? When I share that undergrad. Okay, so you want to make sure that. Most schools are going to require, a lot of schools are going to require letters of reference. We want professional letters of reference or academic letters of reference. Somebody you can talk about your capability. Essays. Why, and most of the essays are like this. Why do you want this degree? Well, I got nothing to do right now with my life, and so I just thought it'd be a good idea. Probably not going to get shit, but we want essays. We also want maybe a resume, or in some areas they call curricula vitae, but who would want to see that? GRE and GMAT tests, standardized tests. Not all programs require them, but some do. Those are more research. And some programs will require an interview. That's just the basic context that you're doing. Okay? Here's the most important thing as you're looking at programs. Most important thing, remember, find one that matches your interest. Each program is unique. Each program has a different flavor. An MBA here is going to be different than an MBA at Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota. It's going to be different than here. Each one's unique, so find a program. So in order, and also find one that matches your learning style. If you don't learn well online, don't go through an online program. If you don't like being in class at a certain time, don't go to a traditional program. Find one that matches your learning style, because there's lots of them out there. The other piece then is, which one is going to be most consistent with your long-term career goals? So if you're looking for a program that's going to help you in a very specific area, maybe a therapy, there's probably a program out there. You just need to do the research to find it. Don't take the first one that comes along. Don't go with these. Find one that's going to help you the most, because it's very different. You're in the driver's seat. So here's some common questions, assumptions, or myths about grad programs as well. The first one that we have is graduate assistantships. Anybody know about these? Grad assistantships, they're all over the place. You can find one, and they're going to pay for 100% of your education. It's a false, it is a myth. And these things are disappearing faster and faster every year because schools don't have the budget for it. Now, number one, they're not easily found, or they are not required. You don't have to be a grad assistant to do a graduate program. Some people don't want to do grad programs because they're like, I've got to be a grad assistant, I got to do all this work for a professor. No, you don't have to. But if you don't know, and we don't talk about grad school, it's like this big mystery out there, right? So you just don't have fun. And the other thing, we'll pay for your entire degree. Even here at Upper Iowa, they pay for a certain amount, but they don't pay for everything. So those are things that you want to be aware of. What about, anybody think, I can't do a grad degree because my undergrad is too low? Not necessarily the case, because what we're doing when we look at somebody for grad school, we want to find out who you are. We want to know who you are, so we evaluate the entire person, not just your academics. How many like your gen ed courses? Nobody likes gen ed courses? Some of them, how many like all your gen ed courses? Sign me up for more 14th century literature of obscure writers. Or something. I did not like my gen ed courses. That's why I graduated in that part of the class that made the 90% possible. I didn't think I could go into grad school because of my GPA. But as you start thinking about it, right now I evaluate transcripts all the time, and some people are coming back that graduated in 2005. So if I do my math right, they graduated 9 years ago. How good is something that was done 9 years ago? Is that a good indication of what they're going to do today? No, it's a lousy description. And think about how much you have changed in your 4, 5, 6 years that you've been here. Right? Anybody further? How much have you changed during that time? Maybe when you came, you didn't, you struggled that first couple of semesters or first couple of terms, and then all of a sudden you figured it out, and now your GPA is much better. So you each changed even over 4 years. Is that really going to be a good indication of how you're doing in classes right now? No. lousy. So your undergrad GPA, don't get me wrong, is important, but it's not going to keep you away from your grad program. The other thing is graduate school is going to be just like my bachelor's. I'm going to go in and I'm going to listen to people and I'm going to write boring papers on something they assign, and I really don't care about this. Trinity's in the program. Have you found that to be the truth right now? A little different. See, with a master's program, you're in the driver's seat. My MBA, oh, it was so much more fun than my undergrad. I had a really good time because I was studying things I wanted to study. The best degree I earned, my PhD. It was hard, it was really hard, but I studied things I liked. I decided what I was going to write on. I decided where I was going to write. And because I'm in the driver's seat, I wasn't listening to some guy in the front of the room go argue with me about Walmart's management style. I'm going, hey, I worked for him for 5 years. I traveled all over the country working for them. He never did that. My research says you're wrong. Really? That was my undergrad. I was able to decide what I was going to study. Grad programs are not like your undergrad. They're much more fun. And there's no gen ed. No gen ed?
I mean, sometimes there are.
Sometimes you do have to do foundational
coursework among certain categories, but
Sure.
there's much less prescription.
Yes.
Prescription.
Sure, but yeah, if you have foundational requirements, you have to, yes. But for the most part,
Yeah,
it's in your area.
much more.
It's not worth it if I don't get into a top school. How many have heard that? Guess what? Let's go back. How much of the population has a master's degree? Anybody remember? I should have brought Andy. 38% of your age group has, 38% of the master's program of your age group, but what percent of the total population? 8% has a graduate. 8%. So think about it. You get a graduate degree. What percent of the workforce are you in, education-wise? How many like being in the top 10%? How many wish they were there? I wish I was my grades in the last test was in the top 10%. I'm in that 9, I'd be in good. You get a graduate degree, you're automatically in the top 10% of the educated population workforce. You're there. To me, that's worth it. People, they say, are you really smart? I got a degree, I can show you. Top 10%, right? That's awesome. So getting into the program, doing the program is the most important thing. If you want to go for research or something like that, you may want to go to the top tier. But match your career goals. Let me just close and we'll go to some questions here. Let me talk about Upper Iowa's programs very quickly. So here at Upper Iowa, we have a Master's of Business Administration. That's the program I oversee. That particular program has 5 different emphases. So we look at things like HR, accounting, finance. There's 3 of them, org development, and then we also have a general management as well. Right now, as of today, the catalog will say 39 credits. That changes in the fall to 36 credits. At 6, you can take up to 2 classes. That's, if you go full time, that's 1 class per term, it's full time. You'll be done in 2 years. 1 class per term. If you really are excited and want to stay here in Fayette, you can do that. Take 1 class online, 1 class on campus, 1 class online. You'll be done in 1 year. Or you can go to Waterloo. The nice thing about the MBA program is it's seamless. You can go anywhere, online, face-to-face. The MPA program is our second one, Public Administration. They have 4 different emphases that include things like global terrorism, healthcare administration, I'm trying to think nonprofit, and a couple others. It is 42 credits right now. It's being dropped down to 36 in the fall as well. So same situation. They do not have a face-to-face option. It would be all online. The Master's in Higher Ed Administration. I should know what that means because I am in administration in higher ed. That's my job, but I have no idea what's included in that. I do know it's 36 credits, I can tell you. It is 36 credits. It's run through the School of Education and Jerry Poppy is MPA. Graham Armstrong is our MHEA coordinator. And then finally, we have the Masters of Education, which in the fall will go online. But right now it is primarily here Fayette, Des Moines, or Waterloo. And Kevin Mackin is the chair of that program. I believe it's also 36 credits, and his office is open. So those are the 3 or 4 programs that we have here at Upper Iowa. Let's see here. We've got the Fayette and Waterloo. We've just got these 2 locations for MBA. So let me mention next steps and good questions. So where do you go from here? Somebody once asked it, Abe Lincoln once went to service, went to church while he was in Washington, D.C. And after service, the minister went to him and said, "How'd I do?" Lincoln's response was, "Well, you did everything except at the final, you never challenged me. You never told me what I should do next. So let me show you what you should do next." Okay? I don't want to make the same mistake that other minister. So here are your next steps. Number 1, talk to individuals in the marketplace. Today is a great way to talk to people in career development. Find out what's going to be needed for your area. What areas should you think about for a graduate degree? Physical therapy, is there a specific area? All that kind of stuff. My soon-to-be daughter-in-law is finishing up her undergrad at Southwest Minnesota State. She wants to be a genetic counselor, which, you can go get your DNA tested, find out, if you're going to be, am I prone to all these sicknesses? Is that a good thing to know all that? That's what she wants to help people figure out. Just because you have the information, should you use it? So it's an interesting area. It's an up-and-coming field. She's looking at grad schools in Madison, out there on the East Coast and everything else. So, find out where you should go for your area of interest. Talk to people that are currently in the field. How do you find them? If they're there, talk to your advisor. You have resources on campus, the crazy faculty, us, And if you don't want to come to our office, send us an email. Right? You can find us, or I let people text me, just let you know, you might text me or send me text. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about what some of your options are. Go talk to your advisor. And then stop by, talk to me if you need to. Talk to people, find out what's going on, do your research, go to the website, go to the Census Bureau, Occupation, Bureau of Labor Statistics to find out what's needed. Begin the search to find out, do I need to do that? When's a good time? Should you go right from your undergrad to your graduate? 8 years. All that's going to be done today. It's not the same for everything. So, with that, there's my short presentation stuff. Hopefully, this was informative and gave you some thoughts. But what questions do you have? I did it fast and furious, because I knew it was the end of the day. Yeah. Probably in the career services or student offices.
We have some materials and we have resources online, and we can give you the resources online for the GRE, actually gives you the information for the testing and study materials and things like that. But we do have things in our career resource centers. If you're interested in those, you can stop in.
And if you want to go right from, if you're in a field that you want to come right into Upper Iowa's programs, we do not require GRE or GMATs. You can take them if you want. They're expensive, and who wants to go take a test if you don't have to? Okay. Other questions? Yeah.
Relative to year to would you take a GRE before or after?
No, the thing is that those tests have a very specific lifespan. So I had to take a GMAT to get into my master's program. So I took it, and then when I was applying for doctoral programs, I was like, oh, I've already taken it, yay! The score had expired, and it was only like 18 months later. So, yeah, it depends on how long. Each score, so check your score, see how long it is. They do have it. I hate to say an expiration date, but they do. Yeah. Yeah, and they're not that, truthfully, they're not that bad, and not all the program requirements. So. Other questions?
How much is the house for
There's a great question. I was waiting for the cost question. So, as of credits, you go out and have to go buy all your books and materials and everything else. We have an estimated cost of right at $19,700. With dropping 3 credits from our program for next year, we've also eliminated all the having to go to the library to buy books. So the MBA program, everything is going to be integrated into tuition. So we're using all digital content. So next year the cost is actually $19,400. So we dropped it by actually $250. So next year, programs are cheaper than it is this year.
In terms of when everything's included, you are or something with our university. So that covers the tuition year of the masters. What would that cover the books as well?
Everything's in tuition.
Really?
Yep. Everything's in tuition. So, yeah, I will say the MBA program does have the highest per dollar or per credit tuition cost of any program as of next fall, where it's $540 per credit. But again, that includes everything that you need, with the exception of your graduation. So, be done 19,000 or something like that. Considering most MBA programs right now around $40,000, we're really good. Other questions? Well, there's cookies and lemonade. So, and if you don't drink it, I think ladies have to take it to the office, pass it out for the rest of the day. So they want you to take all that stuff and eat it and drink it, and then make sure you hang out for the faculty panel, which starts. And how did I do in time?
You did good.
Did I?
You're good. You have 10 minutes for the next one, yeah?
2:35. I think I hit it right on.
Good.
Great.